Hi, welcome to our video series. I'm James Goulsbra and I'm joined by Amy Hancock. We are the Being Counter the Boss podcast hosts, and today on our video series we are talking about how we do and what we do.
So today we're going to be talking about onboarding and how we onboard our clients into our accountancy practices. If you haven't listened to us before, we've done the Being Counter to Boss podcast series where we've talked about how we started our practice. And within there, we spoke about our clients and how we've niched, whether we've niched. So I thought we'd talk about that to start with. Niching. What are your thoughts about it?
Well, we personally, us as a practice, we don't. We like to sort of offer services for all sectors.
Okay.
But I know that obviously there are practices that specifically work on niching because that's what they like to work on. And I think that, yeah, if they want to do that, it's great. But for us, I'd rather have a diversity that allows us to keep our jobs day-to-day interesting. But what are your thoughts on it?
I suppose we don't niche by industry. We are a general practice and we offer tax, accounting and audit. So we don't niche by industry. I suppose I niche in that I know what I don't want.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that when a potential client comes to us and starts challenging me on pricing, that's when I get a little bit of an it, how you would call it.
Yeah, no, I get that.
In there, I know, I've done my research, I know my pricing is reasonable, it's for the area that I live in, for the sector that we're in. And when someone starts challenging me on the pricing, I'm like, oh, do I really want you as a client? So I kind of know what I don't want. I'm not opposed to niching. Obviously, if you specialise in e-commerce, you know that industry, you've set up the software for that industry, you're going to be better placed. I suppose that's one thing is probably not good at is the e-commerce side.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, like I said a little bit just a minute ago, was that if you specialise in one thing, then you can get away and do that. Go away and do not get away. Go away and do it.
Yeah.
Because you know the software that works and you have to provide that gold standard service to that particular sector.
Yeah.
Obviously, for us, like you, we're a general practice. We want to do the various different things because that brings to us the enjoyment. Doesn't mean we're a jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
We generally have the opportunity to offer to vast majority of people, and we can do the various services, the accounts, the VAT, the tax planning, individual tax, capital gains things. And I just feel that if you're going to niche, you may be limiting yourself at times, and then you're also, if that particular sector gets hit by a recession, it impacts your practice. But like you, I don't like it when clients or prospects come in and say, I'm only going to pay you this, because straight away I'm not interested. And it sounds quite an egotistical thing, but you got to value yourself.
It's when you send the proposal out to a client and you've listed it. I don't know about you, we'll go into this, where you've listed all your services, and they're like, comes out, say, £120 a month, and they come back and go, I'll give you 100.
Yeah.
But you're like, no, I've listed everything. This is exactly what.
Have you ever actually changed it because you want that client, or have you felt like, no, I'm sticking to a no?
Yeah, to start with, I was a bit, when I started the practice, so it took it full-time 18 months ago now. And I think I was worried so much about getting those clients. I was like, okay, how about I reduce this fee a little bit? And I've still got that. So I've got legacy clients where I've reduced. Hugely regretted it now. I should have had a pricing structure and stuck to it at that point, but I was so worried about getting new clients that I just would accept anything. Just quickly going back to niching, I know that you do a GA accounting R&D.
Yes.
To me, that is a niche. Although I used to do it, and I've chosen not to do it just because of everything that's going on with HMRC at the moment, I would say that's part of your niche, those kind of services, and company valuations as well.
Yeah. We see that as just another service.
Okay.
Not necessarily like I can see it's coming from
Yeah.
that's a niche, but the R&D is part of the tax, the tax that we do for companies, and therefore, so we don't specifically go out and just source R&D work.
Okay.
It's part of the service we do for our clients if they generally have R&D. So it's not like ad hoc work. We've kind of left that away because of what's going on in that particular with R&D with HMRC. But company valuation, yeah, I can see what you're saying with that with a niche. We do a fair bit of that. But again, that's part of, we see that as just a service, not a niche, because we do so much more the other stuff.
So with those two services that I've just mentioned, would you offer that to clients as a standalone service? So for example, I probably wouldn't want to touch on the R&D side and the company valuation side. Mine, I suppose, my niche is, if you call it a niche, audit.
Yeah.
But would you advertise those two things?
Yeah, we do. I think we would do. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's something that we are looking to, since we've done the rebrand, to push a bit more of. So, example, I might come to you and say, we can do this for your a company or client that's looking to exit, and so we could do that as a service for you.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think that we might do more of. So yes, we might start to branch out into those sort of areas more the company valuations. R&D we're still a bit hesitant on because of this ongoing issues with HMRC.
Yeah.
But we see that as primarily as just an add-on to what we offer as a practice.
Okay, so actually, you probably do have a little bit of a niche.
Maybe we do,
Just
without realising.
Just not a client industry niche.
No, yeah.
Sector niche. It's more service side.
Yeah. So with going back to what you said about filtering out clients, the good and the bad, we spoke about when a client wants to, or a prospect wants to basically bargain on the price.
Yeah.
Obviously, if they start to do that, it's an instant no from you, or is it a case of, do you try and get them to reason, to see your point of view?
I'd say when I was in the early days of the practice, so last year, I would negotiate. Whereas now I'm more confident in turning around and saying, look, we're not a no frills. And it's fine to be an absolute no frills practice and have loads and loads of clients. It's absolutely fine. But I didn't want to do that, particularly because I'm an audit practice as well. I'd prefer fewer clients so I can give my time in the giving value to them.
Yes. So
I've kind of turned around and say, look, maybe we aren't for each other. This is the price point that you're going for. And that's cool and that's fine. And recently I had a client who did just that, and I did say, and I kind of ended the email with wish you all the best, not in a horrible way or anything that. It was just, don't think we're for each other. And they came back and said, oh no, we want to work with you, so we're happily sign the proposal. So it's not about me trying to get the most out of people. It's the fact of maybe we aren't for each other. If you're looking for someone to churn out your accounts at £300.
And there are people out there who do that, and that's fine. And that's fine, exactly. But obviously, it's interesting along our journeys how we've gone from both being guilty of accepting any client just because we want the clients, then going, do you know what, we've maybe now need to start thinking about filtering. I'm not saying the good from the bad, but the clients we want to work with, who maybe would appreciate us a bit more.
Definitely.
So once you've gone through the process of the proposal,
yes,
how would you then onboard them?
So when they come, obviously at the start they come through the different social media channels or word of mouth, and then I use Ignition as a proposal software. So as part of that, Ignition collect monies. So all of my clients go onto monthly direct debit. And as part of the proposal, I can toggle on that I want them to put in their bank details. So they'll put their bank details in before they actually sign the engagement letter. It's all proposal, payment, engagement letter, all in one. And then once I've got notification that that's signed, that's when I start the onboarding process as such. So they're a prospect up to that point. I use Client Engager now for all my onboarding. So the moment I get that discovery call, they're on as a prospect. The moment they sign the proposal from Ignition and I get their email, they turn into a active client.
Right.
And that's when we invite them to the portal through Client Engager. So we can start the exchange of information. They get an onboarding form to fill in all their details, which is such a time saver, because historically I would be the one, because I'd had the call, I would be the one that would have to enter name, address, email, phone number, national insurance number, UTR, the whole thing. Whereas now there's a form that will go to clients and they fill it in themselves. They also send us, as part of that, their ID. So we can do the AML checks.
And that's obviously done through the portal, right?
Done through the portal.
So
they send it through the portal.
Compliant.
Great. When I started the practice, maybe it was a bit more WhatsApp, which is absolutely fine. I've heard WhatsApp is encrypted and absolutely fine. But I feel better about it being through a portal. Just feels a bit more secure. And then I use Zama, a LinkedIn to Client Engager, as my AML toolkit that does the checks, and I can do the risk assessment for them in there. Once that's done, we can start the work. So then it's a case of creating the folders that we need. We use SharePoint, Microsoft 365, so we can have all our folders. I'm still a little bit traditional in there. I like a list. I like a folder list for all of my clients. There's still a little bit of the odd accountant in me. So we use
online
SharePoint.
filing cabinet.
My little filing cabinet on the computer. So that lists all my clients, and within there, all the folders for all the services. Have the same within Client Engager, so that might be a little bit of a duplication, so that the client can access information as well. So I have copies of the accounts and tax returns that go in the Client Engager folders. So if we've taken over from another accountant, we will talk about handover in another video, but they send the information through to us, then I'll put in their folders, so it's a little bit of duplication. Then they'll go on my workflow spreadsheet, which you might take the mick out of me for.
I like the colour coding, it's great.
I have a workflow spreadsheet that has every single service and every single client listed, who's responsible for it, and each year end and what stage it's at. That's kind of followed me throughout my 20-year accountancy journey, and I've still stuck with Excel.
So it's important that it's something that works for you. So it's that saying, is it, what's not broken, why fix it? It's working for you. It's something that your staff are buying into as well. Because it's quite interesting. So our onboarding is very similar to you. Obviously, we use Engager. It's great. The portal, because it means a secure way of uploading, sending documents to the client. We set the process, we set the fee list like you. They don't accept it. It turns to the engagement letter straight away, which is fantastic. So it's one less process to rule out. We then obviously use Go Cardless and PayPal to collect our money. So then once we know that they've accepted the proposal, we send out the link for Go Cardless to try and... Most of our clients are monthly. We still have a few that do quarterly. And we still have a couple that are the annual fee. We're trying to get them off it, but we're getting there. And once that's done for us, we're on the case. And again, we use SharePoint. So again, we've got very much like an online filing system. And we do our AML with TaxCalc. So we use their AML center in there. And kind of, so it's a bit more manual based. But our administrator, or I call her a practice guru, Bev, she sorts out our... So the partners always meet the client, whether it could be online or face-to-face. They take our notes, which we either are handwritten or we use Fireflies to record the meeting. So then from their point of view, it's then uploaded to Client Engager as a meeting note, and it's saved in SharePoint just in case something didn't happen. But the whole point is from there, the AML, then from there it's the checking the documentation, filling out that we know the background of the client, and we know where the history is. So if they're a company, it's company's house. Is there anything, other companies that might be dissolved? Is there something we need to be suspicious of? 9 times out of 10, it's not. But we're kind of still doing a lot of those manual checks behind the scenes. If it's an individual, we're making sure that we are aware of all their sources of income, whether it's sole trade, investment portfolio, rental property.
Yeah.
So that's all documented. So that's also put into this report that TaxCalc then prints out. So each client has a published report that we save into their folder on SharePoint.
Okay.
And then I have the ideas, me as the main partner, I have to look after it and make sure it's monitored.
That's okay. That's good to hear. I didn't know that TaxCalc had the ability to do that. At the moment, we're doing memos in Client Engager, but actually, that sounds good that you're putting it into the client folder so they can see it and then they can update you.
Yes, that's the idea. But as part of the whole yearly, when we do the work, we're obviously monitoring it and updating it. Well, we should be updating it. You know, at times when you're up against it, it doesn't happen, but that's part and parcel of being in our industry. Sometimes you're up against it. It's just something you try and catch up with.
Yeah. So as part of the onboarding process, is TaxCalc and Client Engager for you linked to Companies House?
Yes.
Pulls through all the information.
Yes.
So that's saving you time as well.
Yes.
Having to input.
Yes.
Regarding the details of income, are you getting the client to fill that in or are you filling that in yourself?
So it's part of the meeting process.
Okay.
So we're asking those questions.
Okay.
So it's part of us meeting them. No different to what you're doing to them to fill it out.
Yeah.
But of course, we also get them to confirm it via a form.
So you get them to sign off
what we've put in.
Okay. Okay, that's a good idea. So when it comes, just taking a step back to the discovery call meeting, do you have a template that you follow to go?
Yes, yeah. Something that Rebecca, one of my partners, has devised.
Yeah.
So she's
you ask all the right questions.
That's the questions. She then can plan the roadmap.
Oh, amazing.
So
good.
That's kind of where how we can get a big picture of where we're going with the client and how we can help them on the journey.
Amazing. So when it comes to a client wanting to start up a business, so they've contacted you, I want to start a new business, how can you help me? Have a discovery call, put them on. Are you registering the limited company or the sole trade business?
Yeah. So if they want to set up as a company, we go through the process of sorting it out for them. But that's pretty much what we try to establish from the very get-go, what the best route for them, limited company or sole trade.
Yeah.
And then from there, we will do it for them. Then we know it's right.
Yeah.
Rather than someone's going, I'm going to go and do it myself. And then you've got a nightmare of where, okay, one example, they said to themselves 10,000 shares for £1, £10,000. And straight away, you're like,
why did they do that?
There you go. Do you do that for yourself? Do you do those sort of things as part of the onboarding, or do you let them get on and do it?
I will charge them separately for setting up a limited company and registering them as a sole trader. I think if they're a sole trader, I do give them the form to complete themselves, because a lot of the information that you need for HMRC, you have to get from them anyway. So it's a lot easier for them to do it. Trying to remind them clients to save it, just in case something happens. Yeah, that's a bit challenging. In respect of setting up companies, I prefer to do it exactly for the reason you say. The shareholding tends to be wrong, although it's defaulted to one share at £1.
Yeah.
Or there'll be two, and then you haven't got the flexibility for the future if you want to restructure.
Yeah.
So I try and say start with 100 at £1, even if it's just you, and then we'll go from there. Do you offer a registered office?
Yes, we do.
services?
We do.
Yeah.
Obviously, for ourselves, we've got our own office.
Yeah.
Bit difficult for you because you are remote working.
So I'm solely remote working. Yeah, so I'm at home and all my staff are at their own homes. We do meet together once a month, but I don't have a premises. Don't really want my home being other company's registered office. I actually probably regret that now, having my house as my registered office. And I probably will change that now, just because it's getting a bit, as the business grows, it's getting people that are more detached from me, and getting more HMRC posts. I don't know about you, it's getting a little bit less online and more paper.
Yeah, the amount of brown envelopes we get, I'm half expecting that, it's sort of be a nice letter someday, but it's not. It's just constant. But that's why we do it, because clients don't want that at their home address. No. We're able to filter it through. Look at it. If it's something that the client's got before us, even though we're the agent and we're getting it a bit later, we can deal with it there and then rather than waiting for the HMRC to contact us. Because at times, that still happens. It happens when we don't get contacted.
No.
The client has So but us being the registered office allows us to sort it out, be proactive.
Yeah.
And the client, like, it's just, they love it because it's puts them at ease that they're being looked after.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Lastly, about going back to the fees and collection side of things. So you said you're all on monthly billing.
Yes.
If a client comes to you and they say, we're set up in a certain way, and then it turns out that it's not what they said they were, so you're having to go through a
like a set of accounts, or we
something comes out of the woodwork, basically.
Yeah, we're very honest and say, as part of the onboarding meeting, that we'll say if there's something that comes out, we have to catch up.
Yeah.
We do catch up fees.
Yeah.
So it's not just a case of we're absorbing the cost. We're being honest from the front, but that's something we've learned along the way.
Yeah.
Historically, we've done it as part of the initial service, and regret that because we're like, oh, this is a lot of work. It's cost us a lot of time. So we are honest now and sort of said, we have said, like, if there's a catch-up element to it, this is what it's going to be. They sign up to it. There's no arguments. So it's not a hidden surprise when it happens.
Yeah.
It's something that's up front from the very start.
Okay.
What about you?
So actually, just on that, if you've got a client that says, so we're now September, we've got a client that comes to you with a March 24 year end. How would you do that? Would you do catch-up fee for March 24 year end and then a 6-month catch-up fee so it runs with the year? Or
I think so for us, it's dependent on, like, if we know the client, we're quite relaxed that we just start the monthly billing, so they're always in arrears. So we tell them this is going towards these set of fees, you're in arrears. So that's the accruals and the accounts, and it's accrued, the cost is accrued for. If it's a client that we're not aware of, then they're saying it's an upfront fee for the 24 accounts, and then we try and do a catch up to September, and then from then on it's monthly. So that's not easy to do.
No,
because they look at it and go, that's quite a lot of money up front. But obviously that's why we're trying to teach them that this is the value adding to them. If they're just used to you on a huge bill, it's no different. So what we're trying to do is bring them up to speed, so then they're on a monthly cost going forward.
So coming back to me, I just start people from monthly. So if someone came to me with a March 24 year end, they would just start September onwards monthly. And I will cross that bridge if someone, touch wood, if someone wants to leave me, then I will.
So you're looking at the catch up at the end?
Catch up at the end.
Okay.
To cover the historical stuff, but I don't actually list on the invoice what year end I'm covering.
That's your get out, really.
Yeah, so
that's a good way. Not say get out's the wrong word to use.
No.
It's a way of capturing it.
I would need to sit and work it out at the end, but I think just starting the monthly fee is probably the wrong thing to do. I find it works for me because I'm charging from the point that I'm starting the work. Yeah, I just might be shifted from the side.
Interesting. It's nice to know that we've got two different ways of approaching things, but ultimately we're still keen to provide that service, the best service possible for the clients. Yeah. And that's ultimately what we're trying to achieve.
Sharp. Right, well, thank you very much. Nice conversation. We'll be back for the next episode talking about handover and relationship building. I've been Amy Hancock.
I'm James Goulsbra.
And we'll be good to see you soon.